So this is going to be my my last video with the Reviol whistles, the comparison series. Right here I have the largest of them. This is on the large whistle head. This is my my low C whistle. Now I think this one is it's a quieter whistle than some of the other ones. I'm gonna play this one, and then the E flat and the D flat bodies that I got for it. And my camera's all from the same, all these videos have been from the cameras in the same general spot, so if you want to listen to the other videos, the sound should be comparable, should be about the same, so you can compare between the videos if you so choose. The other ones I'm going to do is the Alto. I'm going to show you the Alto G, and then I'm going to switch that out and put the head on the low E body, so you can see the difference between those two. And I think that's the last of the smaller bodies that I have. So here's the low C Reviol. So you can see that one, it tends to break a little bit easier on the lowest notes, just the slightest. The slightest tonguing on these bottom notes will kick it into the second octave, so it's a whistle that requires more care than the other ones. It's got a really nice upper end as a result of being kind of a very narrow bore. So I think this will be a good whistle. I'll play it with my grandma when she plays piano tunes in C. That's basically the reason I need a low C whistle. So let me swap this out real quick, and you can see each one of these has cork. It's wrapped here, and then it's got tuning slide grease on it, so it can get a little bit messy if you're not careful. He's provided some of these aluminum caps to slide over to keep the tuning slides from getting greasy, or from getting gritty. Let me see. I'll show you the E flat. Now this one is this was my first experience with a Reviol whistle. I found one of these in Dingle at the Dingle Music Shop, and it was an E flat, low E flat, and I played it, and I noticed that the back pressure, there wasn't a lot of back pressure on it, but it just had a really nice tone, and that's why I initially placed my order was based on that one. I like the tone, and I've been wanting an E flat whistle forever, and I finally have one. I think Warren Nicolives and Julie Fallis play soprano E flat whistles on some of their on their album Duel, which is one of my favorite albums. If you haven't heard it, you should go listen to it. And for a long time I couldn't figure out what they were playing because it didn't match any of my other whistles, but it's they're soprano E flats. You see. Let's see if we can go down just a little bit. I'm like, oh no, it's a D sharp, not an E flat. So one thing about switching these whistle heads is I can't get them set the way I want them, and then just leave them alone because I keep switching them out, so I have to retune them each time. Okay. This is probably my favorite of the low D, or of the low whistle, the large head whistles that I have. It's really nice upper octave. It's very mellow. I like the tone, and I kind of wonder if I could get eventually maybe I might ask Mr. Reviol to make me an E body for the large whistle head, because I feel like it could be pushed a little bit higher with the larger bore, and still sound really good. So. So not a terribly loud whistle, real mellow, and let me show you if I can find where I put it. Yeah, there you go. I think, yeah, my MK. Here's my MK low D. So you can hear there's a resemblance in the tone, but between the two, this one's just a little bit higher. So. So if you are interested in an E flat and you like the MK, I think that the Reviol. I think the Reviol is fantastic. So let me hit the D flat. Pop this off. I'm going to be very careful because I don't know. I said once I'm done with all the testing and everything, I think I'm going to settle on one or two of the whistle heads, and there will be much less switching. But in the meantime, I want to be careful not to wear out these things. So the D flat, I think, is a little bit stronger. I don't know when I'd ever need a D flat body, but it was one of the ones that he included, and I appreciate that he put it in there, because sometimes I just like to play something different. A little more. little bit brighter than the C. So the last three notes on the bottom end of this one are more stable than the C. I would be a little bit happier if the C was more like that. They're just a little touchy for my liking, but I said that's just the nature of when you use the same bore, I guess, for so many different bodies. So this one, I'm going to pop that off, let them dry out. And now, just to remind you, this is the G. So I'll play this one and then the low E. There you go. Excuse me. So the alto head, this is one of the louder whistles. So, as the G, I didn't play that one as well as I could have. I said each whistle, I mean, the more you play a whistle, the more you figure out the more you kind of, you just get accustomed to it, and so you don't blow as hard, and I mean, it just takes a while. Each whistle has their own quirks. And sometimes you'll blow, if you blow a whistle too hard, you think, man, this is a terrible whistle, and then you come back to it sometimes years later and you think, wow, I just didn't know how to play that one. I've had that happen to soprano whistles that I thought were terrible when I played them years ago, and I came back to them and I just realized I must have been, probably because I went from playing a low whistle to playing the soprano whistle, and I had way too much breath, and that's what happened to the C. I was trying to blow it like the E flat, and it ended up being just a terrible, like it was breaking really easily, and finally I did some testing, and I realized I just needed to back off the breath, and it just plays quieter, but it's much nicer. I'm hoping that the E will be like that, because I didn't like it. This is the low E, which is the lowest of the bodies on the small whistle head. So I actually like that better than I did the last time. So. When these get clogged up, they almost take on, almost has like an electric guitar, like distortion sound. Probably a lot of my whistles I'll put like dish soap into a cup, like a pretty heavy solution of it, and I'll dip the whistle head in there and I'll let it dry, and that a lot of times helps with clogging issues, which I haven't treated these yet. And this one may actually be a little bit more prone to clogging with this body because I have to blow softer than the others. Let me go ahead and I realized I've got, so the only other E whistle that I have is this Carbony one, and I've done some videos with that one, but now I have a direct way to compare them. My son is up and young. He needs his trash can back. a much softer tone. He says, "Stop singing." But definitely, very different. So this one's more powdery, soft, but this. So the Reviols just tend to have this like a very raw sound. Like you're touching the live wire that produces the electric music. Something like that. So anyway, there you have it. That's